why not track our body muscle and fat percentages as we work out?
Okay, so another way of saying that is body composition
Body
tracking,
composition.
right? Specifically muscle mass and body fat. Now, tracking body composition is one of the ways that we can track progress. The problem is, similar to tracking your weight on the scale, most handheld devices, meaning the ones you do at home with the scale in the middle and the app, are inaccurate. So not only are you giving yourself an inaccurate reading, but you're also putting a lot of weight and belief into a number, which is gonna very possibly set the tone of your happiness or mood that way, because in this day and age, people don't have good relationships with
Right,
scales.
but even if it's not accurate, aren't you a little curious about your muscle progress or your body fat?
Okay, so that's a great question. So because we said it's inaccurate, we can also keep in mind that if we're using the same device to track us constantly, we could track progress. Because let's say 20% body fat. Let's say the scale is inaccurate and says we're 30% body fat. If I'm using the same scale in the same conditions, then even if it's inaccurate, it's still going to go down or up in the same conditions. You know what I mean? So it's not right, but it will say 28, 27, 26.
Right.
As a trainer and a coach, there are certain people in the past that I have utilized body composition tracking for, not because I feel that the scale is accurate, but because I use it to track. The problem is that I would say that most people in this day and age don't have a good relationship with scales and a good relationship with numbers, and they tend to obsess about it. And when you obsess about something, and especially in this negative light, it doesn't really add value to your program.
Even if you're tracking progress, like, can't you heal that relationship?
So that's a good question. I like tracking progress in several ways. Number one, I track progress in function and performance. So every time we get to the gym, we're applying the concept of progressive overload, which means we're trying to add weight or reps or intensity or less rest time to the workout every time, which basically means that we're walking out of the gym getting better. And when we break a record on the bench press, when we break a record on the squat, we for sure gain muscle, because that's how the body works. Another way I like tracking is before and after pictures. That's one of the best ways.
Aesthetics.
No, because I don't obsess. I like always. I think that function and performance comes before aesthetics, and the element that if you focus on function and performance, aesthetics will come. But
kind of accidentally.
Exactly. It's not as accidentally
Yeah,
it comes.
that's what I felt, that we were working out for months and we were not focusing on aesthetics, not focusing on aesthetics. And then, like, one day I tried on my winter jeans after a few months and I was like, oh, these are a little big.
Yeah.
And I was like, surprised.
So that's another method of tracking, which is how your clothes fit you. So especially people who have a lot of weight to lose, what happens is your clothes will start fitting you better. And that's, of course, your body composition is going down, because muscle is not just like quote quote, it's not really heavier than fat, it's more condensed than fat. So like a pound of muscle will
Like
take up this much space, and it's tight and it's mutzak, and it's tight and dense and hard, and a pound of fat will take up this space.
It's like when we say kilo of feathers and a kilo of rocks.
Kind of, but that's the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, right? So like a rock is more condensed and heavy, and feathers will take up more space. So that's kind of the vibe when it comes to condensed. So like if your body composition is improving, which means your body fat is going down and your muscle mass is going up, what's going to happen is your clothes are going to fit you better. That's another way of tracking, which I highly suggest to most people. See if like your jeans are just fitting you better size-wise. But what I was saying before and after pictures, I don't recommend it for everyone because people can obsess about it. But for people who are interested in seeing the changes in their body composition, because we look at ourselves in the mirror every day, it can be very difficult to see the changes. But if you look at yourself 6 months ago and look at yourself in 6 months' time, you're like, oh my God, I'm much leaner, my arms are much stronger, my shoulders are popping out, I see my quads for the first time. I think that all these methodologies are much more healthier and much better than putting your faith in a scale which not only is inaccurate, but they'll fluctuate greatly. Meaning, because you're looking at the short term, let's say weighing yourself once a week or once a month or every day. One day you had some pizza last night, and you feel a little more bloated, so you weigh more. So the body fat and the muscle mass levels are going to largely be dictated by also how much water and glycogen you have in your muscles in that day, which gives you an inaccurate reading. There are accurate readings. There's like, I think Biodex it's called, and there's 2 or 3 other very, very expensive high quality equipment that you'll only find in like athletic laboratories where they can check your body fat and muscle mass accurately, which they do for athletes sometimes because they may need to know them for performance. But the average human being who's not like a professional athlete doesn't need to worry about that, and I think should focus every day on feeling good, progressing in their workouts, and loving their body at all costs. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. I just think that it's so. I feel like we grew up in society like so much, affected us so much that like it's hard to shake off the numbers.
Yeah,
I see. I come here and I progress in weightlifting and I progress in my performance and my mobility, and like you said, my clothes fit differently. But then, like, I just stand on the scale and I get nervous.
You get nervous. Exactly.
It's like post-trauma.
No, it is. It is. A scale is traumatic, and I would say 99% of clients I say throw the scale out the window, and I stopped using it for that reason. This is a little bit like on a personal level. I had a client a couple years ago where I was like, I wasn't weighing everyone. People who specifically requested, hey, can we do like body composition test? And she was doing great. She was doing so good. Like she was progressing, and then she asked if I could weigh her, and like I wasn't a big fan of it, but she asked me, so I did it, and then she never came back. She came back a month later, but she said that's the first time I weighed myself in like 3 years, and like totally like just triggered me and ruined me. And after seeing that, I'm like, okay, we're never utilizing a scale again in this gym. It's taboo, and there's so much better ways to track, and it's such negative reinforcement, and it's just a terrible way to do it. And we live in this day and age where like Instagram, Facebook, and the billboards, and they're all giving us this like ideal body image. Guess what? People out there listening, if you're performing and feeling well and feeling great and you're mobile and you can carry your groceries home and you're carrying your kids and you're living your life pain-free, who gives a beep if you have 15% body fat or 20% body fat?
Right.
It could be society will judge you, and you're on the beach, you'll pinch your cellulite and be like, oh my God, I have a little lower belly fat. But who cares? As long as you're not overweight and as long as you're a healthy human being who's eating well and feeling good and sleeping well, no one cares if how big your body fat is. Back in the day when our ancestors were hunting, they were like, oh my God, body fat. Yes, now I can stay warm this winter. So if we can get rid of this stigma, then life would be better. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Can we go squat now?
Let's squat.